It's time for another season of the Palmetto Porch, an original podcast from Discover South Carolina. I'm Devin Whitmire. Join me as I get to the heart of what makes South Carolina such a great place to visit by speaking to the locals who make it so special. Premiering December 5th, find the Palmetto Porch wherever you get your podcasts. And for more information about our show, visit scpalmettoporch.com.
Hey Browns fans, before we get started, just want to thank the sponsors of today's show. Aura identifies data brokers online that are selling your information and helps you lock down, secure, and protect your online data and identity. Go to aura.com/dogs and get a 14-day free trial today and find out how much of your data is being sold online. And of course, Omaha Steaks. 50% off site-wide sale is still going on. Go to omahasteaks.com/dogs and use that promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out to get $30 extra off your order.
Public service announcement, Dog Pound, what's up? It's your new quarterback, Jameis Winston, coming here to help lead and support and help get us some victories. All right, you know we here, we're live and local. We know you love us. I can't wait to see you soon. I can't wait to really get in this building, get to work with Deshaun, get to work with David. Like, it's going to be unbelievable. Thank you for the support always. I look forward to meet all y'all soon. Training camp 2024 coming real soon. Thank you.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast presented by Omaha Steaks. Josh all alone with you again today. And what I want to discuss, talk about, I want to dive into Jameis Winston. I think that the Browns bringing in Jameis Winston as the backup quarterback behind Deshaun Watson is such a brilliant move, and I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to show you some video clips. He recently did some interviews. I've got some clips from his interview with Cleveland Browns Daily. And then we're going to dive into a little bit of what happened at the end of last season with the Saints and just the victory formation play that turned into a last-minute touchdown decision that turned into a controversial topic. And if you've read any Browns media since the Jameis Winston signing, you've probably at least heard mention of it. So I think we'll just dive into it, talk about it, give you my 2 cents on the whole deal, and then we'll just wrap it up because, you know, we've got a whole lot of news happening right now with all the free agent signings and all the moves the Browns are making gearing up for 2024. And I don't want to just blow past the Jameis Winston free agent signing for the Browns. I don't want it to get too mixed up in our conversation about the Joe Flacco versus Jameis Winston debate, how the media broke down over that whole thing. We did that conversation. We talked about the Browns signing Tyler Huntley, but I think we need to spend just a little bit more time on famous Jameis. So before I dive into him, remember, if you guys are watching on YouTube, we just blew past 9,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome. You guys are helping us grow the show like we never imagined possible. And it's because of you guys watching and listening that we're able to do this and keep bringing you more and more content all the time. So YouTube, like and subscribe. You guys know what to do. Smash the notification bell so you never miss anything new coming out from the Dogs Podcast. Thank you to everybody listening on audio. And again, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please drop us a 5-star review. Those really help the show. All you got to do is scroll down to the bottom of the homepage for the Dogs Podcast and tap 5-star rating and leave us a written review. Doesn't have to be anything long. It can be something quick, short. Just a 5-star written review goes a long way into helping the show. As a matter of fact, just here on Tuesday, we've got Spoken Ref Man says, woof, 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 best Browns cast out. The fantasy leagues are a blast as well. I'm glad he mentioned the fantasy leagues because those will be starting up a lot sooner. I feel like we just finished fantasy football, but it is already almost April. The NFL draft's going to take place, and the summer's going to roll, and we're going to be taking signups for our fantasy league, so just stay tuned. And if you want a head start and a head notice on that, another great way to support the show as well, join thedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on our Patreon page. Just $5 a month also goes a very long way in helping support the podcast. So Jameis Winston, again, just briefly, because I know I covered this last week after the Browns signed him, but he was the number 1 overall pick out of Florida State back in 2015. And when he was at Florida State coming out of high school and everything, he was also drafted by the Texas Rangers for for Major League Baseball. So Jameis Winston is an athlete. He a multiple sport phenom. And I think it's important to understand why the Browns are bringing in Jameis Winston versus Joe Flacco. Go back to our live show from Tuesday night. We broke that down, talked about the scheme, the system, the type of offense the Browns are looking to run under Ken Dorsey and all the new offensive coaches they brought in here in 2024. And Jameis Winston just fits that bill, but more than just his athletic capabilities. More than just his skill set, which the dude has a rocket arm, a very strong arm. He can move. He's mobile. He's not a mobile running quarterback. He's not a scrambler. But, I think also Deshaun Watson kind of gets pigeonholed into he's a running quarterback. Deshaun Watson is not a running quarterback. He's not what I would categorize as a running quarterback. A running quarterback to me is your Lamar Jackson, where his running capability, what he can do with his legs is at least equal to, if not better than what he can do with his arm. What Deshaun Watson does with his legs is nowhere close to what he can do with his arm. If you followed him at all throughout his entire career at Houston, the running ability is just a compliment to the way he plays quarterback, to the way he can throw the ball, to his arm talent. And that's the same with Jameis Winston. Not a running quarterback, but what he can do with his legs is merely a compliment to his passing capabilities. I mean, just look at his career, early on when he was with Tampa Bay as the starting quarterback, 213 yards, 165, 135, 281, 250. So nothing extraordinary, nothing high end as far as a running quarterback you would expect the numbers to be, but still those type of yardage numbers complement what you think about tacking on 250 extra rushing yards in the same season where he threw 5,100 passing yards. The dude covered a lot of yards for the Buccaneers that season. So he is capable of making plays, extending plays, picking up first downs, those sorts of things. All right, so we'll take a quick look here at the first clip from his interview with Cleveland Browns Daily. He's asked about why he decided to sign with the Cleveland Browns versus any of the other teams that were looking to sign him. Why he didn't hold out longer for a potential starting job, all those sorts of things. And here's what Jameis had to say.
Well, it all started when I knew I was going to become a free agent, and I just got so sick and tired of great weather and beaches and music, and I said, what is the place?
Let me challenge myself.
Well, yeah, what is the place that I know that I can give my kids some snow, for Christmas, ain't
or in March.
Well, no, but honestly, it's truly a blessing to be a part of the Dog Pound and to be on this radio show with y'all. But I've always admired just the history of Cleveland and what it encompasses, and to be able to be a part of that now is amazing. When you see how this team rallied together after significant injuries, on both sides of the ball, and they were able to do it with 4 quarterbacks. So one, that the roster is one of the best rosters in the NFL. When you have a free agent signing that shocks the world, like Zadarius Smith is joining Myles Garrett. Yep. Last year, I think that shocked everybody. When you have a fierce defense that know how to take the ball away. Sure. And know how to stop the run, that's enticing for any quarterback. But also when you have the opportunity to impact and influence a young quarterback who you have admired from afar and have competed against, it really was a no-brainer for me, opposed to obviously looking for opportunities to start.
Sure.
But knowing the head coach here, Kevin Stefanski, is able to win with his strategies and with his amazing ability to lead a team despite what they may grow through. You have to admire that.
So, if you've never heard Jameis Winston talk, if you don't know a whole lot about him prior to signing with the Browns last week, Jameis Winston is known for his personality. sometimes he almost gets labeled as a kind of a weirdo in a way, which I never really understood, because all he is he's a fun-loving dude. He's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humor. He's very witty. And, he's got some sound bites and some things that kind of go around, some memes and stuff like that, where he almost looks like a goofball. But that's just the way certain media people have portrayed him. But Jameis Winston is a very sharp dude. He's a very funny dude. And by all accounts, from everybody who's ever played with him, from all the teams he's been on throughout his, through college till now, they love him. They love him. They love his attitude, his personality, the charisma, just the aura, the energy he brings to the NFL, to the team, to the locker room, all that kind of stuff. So just the comment at the beginning of, why did you come to Cleveland? Well, I was getting kind of tired of the warm weather, the beaches. I thought, where can I get my kids some snow for Christmas? And, just sitting down with a guy like that and having a conversation. He's a real guy. He's very down to earth. And, I think if Browns media, Cleveland media, and the fan base, part of the fan base, I shouldn't say the fan base. I never mean to categorize everybody in the same group of the fan base, but the part of the fan base that just hated the signing because it wasn't Joe, if they can just get past Joe, if they can just get past that, they're going to love this guy. You are going to fall in love with having Jameis Winston on the team, and so are the players around him. And he, I thought it was really important that, he got the joke, the laughing, lighten the mood at the beginning of the interview. And then he said, no, but really, it's a blessing to be here with Kevin Stefanski. I thought it was really, really important because there is still a portion of the fan base who is calling for some reason for Kevin to be fired. I will never understand that. The dude just won second coach of the year in the last 4 years. And Jameis cited Kevin as a very strong contributing factor to why he decided to sign here, and just Kevin's capability of showing that he can win with a decimated team. If you can win with all the injuries that we had in 2023 and make the playoffs still under those circumstances, imagine what you could do if you, and again, you almost have to luck into this as an NFL head coach. Ask any of them. What can you do if you are able to, if you're fortunate enough to make it through a season mostly healthy? Because you're never going to make it through healthy. You're going to suffer injuries. You're going to lose guys along the way. It's just the nature of the beast. It is what happens. But if you can keep your primary guys, for the most part, healthy all the way through, Kevin's the guy that can do some real damage. And Jameis recognized that, and he's excited to be here. He talked about the culture, and he talked about the defense, and how he showed the signing of Zadarius Smith last year as, he said it was like a shock around the league of, wow, they just paired up Myles Garrett with Zadarius Smith. They got both of these guys now going to be rushing the passer. And we talk about that all the time with Deshaun Watson, and how even though he wasn't on the field last year, his impact on the roster, the building of the team that we saw in 2023 went throughout the entire season, because guys like Zadarius Smith might not come to Cleveland if Deshaun Watson isn't the quarterback. And I know there's people out there who don't like Deshaun Watson, don't think he's good, or, you have your own reasons for not liking him, whatever the case may be. But the fact remains that players in the league like Deshaun Watson, and Jameis Winston even said, the opportunity to come here and work with a younger quarterback, because Jameis is 30, Deshaun's 28, so they're not like he's that much younger than Jameis. They're roughly the same age. But Jameis was also in the league for 2 years before Deshaun came in. So Jameis was already getting his feet wet as the number one overall pick, a rookie quarterback, a second-year quarterback in the league. He's watching Deshaun Watson in college light it up, beat Alabama like, actually, that's the next clip. But anyway, beat Alabama in the national championship and all this kind of stuff. And he's always admired Deshaun Watson. And, the opportunity to work together, it's going to be a really, really good thing for the Browns. It's going to be a good thing for both of these guys. And it's going to be a good thing for you. As a fan, you're going to benefit from this, because there's going to be improved production, improved team morale, improved winning opportunities. It's all good from here, having Jameis Winston on the team. This episode is brought to you by Aura. Browns fans, if you're like me, you've reached a point where so much of your daily life resides online. Data brokers collect your information without you knowing, and they sell it to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. And that's why I started using Aura to protect my information and my identity online. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. And right now, Dogs Podcast listeners, you guys can all get a 14-day free trial at Aura, aura.com/dogs, DAWGS. Make sure you go to that link on your desktop or your laptop computer. And once you set up your free trial, then you can download the app and sign in to also get protection on your phone. It's a great no-commitment way to at least see how much of your information is being sold. And as a quick side note, guys, if you have a grandparent or an older parent who isn't the most tech savvy and continues to get all those spam emails and phone calls, I would strongly encourage you to set up an Aura account for them or add them to your account under the family plan. These scammers heavily target the older age population. These guys didn't grow up with tech and they can't just easily spot when they're being scammed. And the scammers are so much more convincing now than ever before. My grandpa calls me at least once or twice a month, I swear, to ask about emails he's getting, claiming that his accounts have been compromised, his Facebook account has been hacked multiple times. He gets messages saying he needs to sign in with his password, he's late on a bill, he needs to enter a credit card for this or that. It's insane. And also, if you have kids, Aura is a great way to make sure that your kiddos are protected online, and we know how important that is in this day and age. Head to aura.com, aura.com/dogs to start your 14-day free trial. Give it a test run, see how many brokers have your information, and even if you don't want to continue after the trial, at least you have an idea how much of your data is being sold. Again, just try the 14-day free trial. I wouldn't recommend this if I didn't think it was worth your time. I value my privacy, and I value all of yours too. Take control of your data today at aura.com/dogs. So let me move into the second clip from the interview, and this one is where he talks about his views and everything on Deshaun Watson.
His intangibles it always stood out because his ability to make plays, and so seeing him beat Alabama in the national championship stage was prolific. Because we beat Auburn, but just being in that Southern Realm, we know for so long that Alabama was king.
Yep.
So I think when he did that, he definitely got his street cred from everybody around. I'm just proud of him, and I'm happy to get to work with him. Obviously, right now the most important thing is him getting back and getting recovered. So I know he's passionately pursuing that right now. But we will be connecting over the course of the next 2 weeks. But I think in terms of just growth and learning from your experiences, I have played every role that you can play as an NFL quarterback in this league, up to in just 9 years in the league. So just me being able to bring that and being able to bring a certain energy around him and be willing to serve him and give him something that he probably hasn't gotten. I know I'm cool with Jacoby Brissett, and I know that they got a chance to work doing that, and that was a tough season. But I'm just excited to get in the room with him. See how he worked. Like, it's different when you see someone hand in hand. You can hear, about what people do. Obviously, you can see on TV, but when you get a chance to connect with somebody and be in it with them, you can do amazing things together.
So the one thing there that I found very interesting, the one comment that Jameis made, was he wants to be able to come in, work with Deshaun, serve him, and give him something that he probably hasn't had before. And then he talked about, I'm cool with Jacoby Brissett, but ... kind of fill in the blank. And I'm just doing some very base level, surface level speculating here. Don't take anything that I'm saying for reporting or that I have any sort of information other than just how that came off to me. It came off to me as though Jameis recognized that while Deshaun Watson was in Houston, probably didn't have a whole lot of support from any sort of backup quarterback in the quarterback room itself, because and I can go back and look to see who the backups were, who the veteran guys were that maybe the Texans had on the team in a backup role, but it doesn't sound like he had a whole lot. And we know that the Bill O'Brien situation there was iffy at best, and it seems like maybe a lot of what Deshaun was able to do in Houston, he did himself. And you'll see that in sports and in life. Good leaders people, entrepreneurs, people that can think for themselves, they've usually had to do a lot of things for themselves. It doesn't mean they haven't had help along the way or people that have guided them or, raised them up or things like that. But it seems like what Jameis is kind of getting at here is he wants to come in here and be a motivational support tool for Deshaun Watson, somebody to help elevate him, boost his morale, restore his confidence to the level that it was before. And this kind of makes me think about Joe Flacco. And I know a lot of the speculation among the fan base and guys like Tony Grossi and the Cleveland media, and these guys are all talking about, Joe Flacco can come in here and be a mentor to Deshaun Watson. He can help him grow and all that kind of stuff. But what if that wasn't the case? What if Joe wasn't in that kind of a role? What if that wasn't how Joe operated? Whether he was malicious about it, I'm not saying he would come in here and say, screw that guy, I'm not mentoring him, I'm doing me, and that's it. I'm not saying Joe's a selfish guy or would actively reject that role and that responsibility, but maybe that just wasn't his game, man. Maybe he's just not that kind of guy. Maybe he's not the mentoring type. And if you've ever had a mentor or you've attempted to mentor somebody else or you've just steered away from it, it's not for everybody. It is not a role that just everybody can take on willingly and succeed at. So maybe the Browns just recognize also part of the decision not to bring Joe back was that's not his area of expertise. He's not a mentor. He's just not that type of athlete. I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm just throwing out a what if, and the what if ends with Jameis Winston because we can see here through his words, through his actions, through things people have said about him on other teams as well. Jameis Winston is that type of guy. He is that type of player. He does not have a problem being in the mentorship role, being in the support, the motivational role, and he embraces it and accepts that responsibility willingly and openly and talks about it. And I think that's a really, really good thing for fans to hear, for the media to show, that's why I wanted to get on here and talk about it, because I've seen stuff online. As soon as we signed Tyler Huntley, I started seeing, that means Jameis won't make the team. What are you guys talking about? They gave Jameis $4 million guaranteed to come in here and be the backup. He's going to be the backup. Like, he is QB2. It's just like when people wanted to say last year, DTR should be quarterback 1, or Joe Flacco should be signed to a 3-year extension, be quarterback 1. Deshaun Watson's quarterback 1, guys. Jameis Winston's quarterback 2. Accept it, reject it. But if you reject it, you're going to be very disappointed because it ain't going to change. That's the way it is. So I think that bringing in Jameis Winston is a great move for the offense, for the quarterback room. I think it's an extension of the coaching staff. It's just another. We bring in all these good locker room guys who are accountable, responsible, and they can be depended upon. You don't have to babysit anybody. There's no freaking babysitting going on in Cleveland anymore, and there used to be. If you've been a fan long enough, we used to babysit guys. We used to overpay old veterans who came here just to get a paycheck and wouldn't play. We are in an era now with this Browns organization where we don't just babysit, or I shouldn't say just, we don't babysit people. We invest in people. We invest in their future. We invest in who they are, who we believe they can be. We help them grow. We develop. We bring in proven veterans who are, and again, an extension of that leadership and coaching staff, because a guy like Zadarius Smith with his veteran leadership, and he can help younger guys grow and mature in the league and learn how to be a pro. We hear that all the time. A lot of young guys come in the league and talk about, I didn't know how to be a pro. I saw this with the interview with Corey Coleman and Barry Shuck. He talked about how in college, everything is mapped out for you as an athlete. The team has everything in line, your schedule. There's no guesswork on your part. Your days, the season is laid out. What you're going to do each day, by the hour, it's all pretty strict. It's a stringent routine. You get to the NFL, and he said it's very much you're on your own. You figure it out. If you don't want to, outside of team activities, if you don't want to work out, well, you don't work out. There's no team structure saying, well, you have to make sure you put in this amount of time per day. It's a much different atmosphere, and it's a different animal than college. So not every guy can adjust to the change, and not every team situation is the same. Not every rookie coming into the NFL gets the same sort of guidance and encouragement and support as everyone else. Obviously, in Cleveland in years past, there was none. There was no guidance. There was no support. It was every guy fend for himself. You got to figure it out on your own, all that kind of BS. And then there's other teams in the NFL that will help their guys more. I know about this with baseball for sure, because my good friend Percy, who pitched for the Indians, always compares what the team was able to do versus when he was with the Philadelphia Phillies organization. He said when he got to Cleveland, they had classes and instructors and counselors and people to help them understand how to navigate your money, how to say no. They had like a whole teaching on how to say no to all the people in your life that come out of the woodwork asking for money. It's just stuff you don't think about as a fan, but one organization didn't offer any of that. It was very much figured out on your own. And you see a lot of these guys, well, how did they lose all millions of dollars? Well, they weren't instructed or helped to understand how to navigate having that much money when they're 20 years old, So it just varies by organization is what I'm really getting at here. And the Cleveland Browns right now are finally that type of organization. So we'll take a look now. I know you're going to hear about this. You probably already have. And a lot of you probably you're well educated on what happened at the end of the football season last year with the New Orleans Saints against the Atlanta Falcons. So I'll just kind of go through it real quick, and then I've got the post-game interview with Jameis Winston talking about the decision that was made on the field. Notice I didn't say his decision. I said the decision made on the field. And I think that, well, we'll get into what I think about it at the end, but the New Orleans Saints playing the Falcons. It's the fourth quarter, end of the game, end of the season. I mean, this is week 18. It's over. It's 41-17 New Orleans. So the Saints are up big. It's a blowout. The Falcons are done, and they've got Logan Woodside in at quarterback. I mean, it's just, season's over. It's done. Game over. And he throws a pass for, former Browns receiver Kadarius Hodge. Gets intercepted at the 25. They return it all the way down 74 yards to the 1 yard line. So, I'm trying to look here. It's under a minute and a half left. Probably about a minute left in the game. Obviously, head coach for the Saints, Dennis Allen, sends the offense out there. Says, victory formation, take a knee, run out the clock, end the game. Let's get out of here. End the season. And the offense takes the field and comes out of the victory formation, or comes out of the huddle in a run play. And they run the ball. Jamal Williams, they hand the ball off to Jamal Williams, the running back, and scores a touchdown. So there was Arthur Smith, head coach at the time for the Falcons, pissed off, very upset with Dennis Allen. It was noticeable after the game. There was a whole thing about it, right? I mean, why would the Saints come out and do this? It was very unprofessional, unsportsmanlike, gamesmanship, blah blah blah. All those good sportsmanship terms were thrown around. So after the game and everything, it comes out, Jameis Winston changed the play on the field, and they ran the ball and scored a touchdown. So at least that's how it was kind of delivered, kind of reported, but that's not how it really went down. So I'm going to play the clip here first from Jameis Winston, and we will talk about it after it's over.
Well, I apologize to DA because the play was victory. But I also explained to DA that it was a team decision. And I think when you have a team morale, and I asked the guys, I said, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective. So I give him that. Yeah, but DA didn't condone that at all.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't. However, we decided as a team to do it, and man, we got an interception to the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
You know, like, so if we would have scored, would it still would have been disrespectful?
Right.
You know, so
Tyron wasn't in on it, was he?
no, Tyron was not in there.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like it was an offensive team discussion. However, when you return the ball to the 1 yard line and you have that opportunity, we just had that opportunity, and we decided. I didn't want to disrespect him. That was not my intention. My intention was to lead the team that I've been with the entire year, and we made a collective decision that we wanted to get one of our guys who they fight with blood, sweat, and tears every game in the end zone, and I'm gonna feel good about that. Yeah.
So no regrets, huh?
No regrets. This is the thing. It's about the team. It's not about regrets. It's not about anything else. It's about us as a team making a collective decision. But I do apologize to Dennis.
You answered my question as respectfully as you could, and I'm telling you as respectfully as I can that I respectfully disagree with you. That's all.
You disagree with me or the entire team?
Whoever made that decision.
Okay, so you disagree with the entire team. So thank you.
No, I'm being honest and respectful.
And that's what I'm attempting to do too. Yes. And that's what I am doing.
Okay, so first thing I want to say about this is I was impressed with how Jameis Winston handled that situation, being, shoved in front of a camera with some microphones in his face, and he's being asked very pointed questions, very accusatory questions about what happened at the end of the game. And I thought that he managed the situation well. I thought that he did not get angry. I thought he kept his emotions in check. I thought he maintained respect. He stayed respectable to the reporters, even though the one reporter asking him the questions was kind of a dick about it. I felt, maybe you feel differently, but I thought he was kind of being a dick about it. And I thought Jameis did a pretty good job. So that, first off, I'm just like, okay, I feel like we've got a guy here who can handle the Cleveland media. And that is good because the Cleveland media are dicks too. So with that being said, Jameis Winston made it very clear, and I think that I didn't have a problem with him constantly reiterating that this was a team decision. And it was. So the team goes out on the field, the offense goes out on the field, and they're looking at Jamal Williams. And if you don't know anything about Jamal Williams, backup running back for the Saints last year, Jamal Williams has been around the league for a while. Last year was his 7th year in the league. He started out in Green Bay, played there for 4 years, went to Detroit, played there for 2 years, and then came over to New Orleans last year as the backup running back behind Alvin Kamara. And, just looking down through his career, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then those are touchdowns by year. So nothing crazy, but then in 2022 with Detroit, he blew up, had 1,000 yards, 1,066 yards, and he had 17 rushing touchdowns. You talk about a guy who the most he's ever had in a season before that for 5 seasons was 4. Comes out and puts up 17 touchdowns. The dude was a monster in 2022 and came into New Orleans probably with some high expectations, not just from him, but, from the team, from the fan base. Yeah, we got the guy who just scored 17 touchdowns last year. He's a monster. And then, the Saints offense just was not great last year. The team wasn't, it's just not a great situation for New Orleans right now. And, Alvin Kamara ended up coming back from his laughable suspension. I won't get into that. And laughable because it should have been more. But anyway, I digress. And, he only had 106 carries for 306 yards. The wheels kind of started to fall off. He's 28, 29 years old. Might be the end for Jamal Williams. That last year, honestly, you kind of see this with running backs. And we talk about the age cliff for running backs, and it is around that 28, 29 years old. And for a guy who just tapered off that drastically, he might be done. And it was the last play of the entire season. And your previous year 17 touchdown leader in the NFL hasn't scored once all year. And I say all that, and you're sitting there and you're watching this, listening to this, saying, you're about to advocate for what they did and say it's okay. Yes, I'm going to advocate for it and say, yeah, it was okay. They changed the play. Offense went on the field, and as Jameis Winston said himself, he looked at the offense, said, what do you want to do? And collectively, the offense said, give the ball to Jamal. Let him get a freaking touchdown. He's never had a season with 0 touchdowns. This might be his last carry ever of his career. Get him in the end zone. And you have to understand, Jamal Williams wasn't just a guy on the team. He's not a depth piece running back that is kind of quiet. Nobody really knows who he is or whatever the situation might be with most of the players in the league. Jamal Williams is one of the most beloved players, one of the most beloved teammates in the NFL. It's been widely documented. Players love him. People love him. And he's just one of those dudes. He's a team leader. He's a guy that rallies everybody together. People rally around him. And collectively, that offense said, screw this victory formation BS. Let's just punch it in. And I thought that Jameis made a very good point whenever he talked about Matthew, who had the interception there, brought it down to the 1. He said he got tackled down at the 1. Would it have been disrespectful if he'd had taken it in for the touchdown? Because nobody was griping about the fact that not only did they intercept that last pass, but the defender tried to return it for a touchdown. It was already 41-17. Why is he trying to take it back for a touchdown? Make the interception and go down. And then we knee it out and the game's over. So if it wasn't disrespectful for the defender to go ahead and try to score, why was it disrespectful for the offense to turn around and try to score? And I understand the situation is a little different. Obviously, you make an interception on defense, you're in the middle of a play, and you're moving, and the momentum's taking you, and you got the adrenaline, and it's like, let's score. This is what I'm programmed to do. And you're just reacting instinctively. I get all that. Trust me. I understand. Totally understand. And I understand that on offense, the situation was different because the play was called to go out and kneel it. I understand that aspect of it too. And Jameis was very respectful to Coach Dennis Allen. He apologized to him, and he made it very clear in everything he said after the game that this was not his decision. He did not condone this. He was against what we did, but we did what we thought was the right thing to do for the team. And these are just kind of the way these things go. You've got the coach who's out there saying he's thinking about the future. He's more forward thinking. If I'm still Dennis Allen, got to be thinking if I'm still the coach next year. But if I'm still the coach next year, the reporter had a point. Got to play these guys twice next year. Don't want any bad. More. It's a division rival, so we don't need more bad blood between the two teams or any of that kind of stuff. So I understand all that, but at the same time, you got to look at it from Jameis Winston's point of view. He doesn't know if he's going to be on the team next year, and I'm not saying that's a reason to just throw caution to the wind to say, screw it, screw this team, screw whatever. No. It's not so much my time here is limited, so I'm just going to do whatever I want. He doesn't have the super long-term view and perspective that the coach has. He's the player on the field looking around at his guys that he's at practice with every day, that he's working his ass off with every day. He sees Jamal Williams out here busting it because the dude is a hard worker. He gives everything he has, and you're looking at him, and everybody knows. The team knows, he knows, they all know Jamal hasn't scored a touchdown yet this year. And I guess I just understand it from the player, from the athlete, that perspective of, I got this guy here, and this is my teammate, and I've been battling with this guy all year, and we love him, and he's such a good guy, he's such a good player, and he's helped me and the rest of the team through our adversity and our situations and yada, yada, yada. Let's get him a touchdown. And that's really what that was. So I don't know. I thought it would be a good topic to discuss. I wanted to present the video clips. I wanted to present my opinion on it. And if you guys agree, disagree, let me know. As always, drop it in the comments. If you want to leave us a voicemail, we don't talk about that nearly enough. Leave us a voicemail. Go to thedogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail in the drop-down section, and you just record a voicemail. And the nice thing is, if you don't like how it came out or you want to redo it, just hit re-record and then send it, and it comes to us in an email. We play it on the next show, and it's all good. We can talk about it, and I just want to hear what everybody else has to say about Jameis Winston, that whole situation in New Orleans. Did you think it was a big deal? Did you think it wasn't? Was it, Do you believe it was a team decision? Which I very obviously do believe that. I made this point online. It's not like Jameis Winston went out there and said, this is what we're doing. We're running a run play for Jamal, and that's the end of the story. Ready, set, hut. 11 guys broke that huddle, okay? 11 guys went out there knowing it was victory formation. 11 guys made the decision to break the huddle into a run play and to hand the ball off. So I won't give him the blame. If you want to blame, it was the entire offense that made that decision. I totally agree with him on that point. So let me know what you think about his interview with CBD. Did you know much about Jameis Winston before he came to Cleveland and started doing some media spots to kind of get the fans familiar with who he is? And do you think that he is going to be a good QB2 for the Browns, for Deshaun Watson, for Kevin Stefanski, and just for Cleveland in general? That's it for me today, unless some other crazy breaking news happens later on and I decide to pop out another video. But until I talk to you guys again, just want to give you a heads up. Derek Frisbee's got an episode coming out tomorrow, I believe, doing a deep dive into Jerry Jeudy, because he's the new long-term wide receiver for the Browns after the extension. So, let's get to know him a little bit better and where he's been, what he's gone through, and the expectations for him in Cleveland. And then I believe Kenny Mack and myself are going to be doing 2 mock drafts for you guys on Sunday. So stay tuned. Again, like and subscribe to the channel. Tap the notification bell so you don't miss any new episodes. If you're listening on audio, please follow the show so you get updates when new episodes are released. And on Apple Podcasts, leave us that 5-star written review. You guys are doing the awesome support for us, and we cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate all of you. We are heading into year 5 of the Dogs Podcast, following the Cleveland Browns, and we are so happy that you guys choose to come along for that ride with us. And we appreciate everything. And I will talk to you guys again on the next one. Let's go, Browns.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.